bear with me. We have a push to talk mic. So if you don't hear my booming voice the whole time, it's because my thumb isn't doing the work that it's supposed to do. So good evening. As chair of the commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 6:03. This meeting is being live streamed at YouTube. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they're currently using, please visit our social media at Redistricting Michigan to find the link for viewing on YouTube. Our live stream today includes closed captioning. Closed captioning, ASL interpretation, and Spanish and Arabic translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those transcriptions will be made available and posted on michigan.gov/MICRC, along with written public comment submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to post maps and comments, which can be viewed by both the commission and the public. Members of the media who may have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, Communications and Outreach Director for E3@michigan.gov. For the purposes of the public watching and the public record, I will now turn the floor over to Michigan Department State Staff, Sarah Reinhardt, who will give roll call for this evening.
Good evening, commissioners. Please stay present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call that you are attending the meeting remotely, and unless your absence is due to military duty, announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. Douglas Clark.
Present.
Juanita Curry.
Present.
Anthony Eade.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present. Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
All commissioners are present.
Thank you, Michigan Department of State staff. Moving on to our other items in the agenda, without objection, we'll have our welcome and introductions coming to us from Commissioner Villette. And hearing no objections, I will turn the floor over to Commissioner Villette, who will provide our welcome and introductions for this evening.
Hello. Is it? Okay. Hello, my name is Commissioner Villette. Welcome to the MICRC public hearing in Novi. We are happy you are here to learn about Michigan's new redistricting process and how you can engage throughout the process to ensure your voice is heard. In looking at the agenda, please note that the vast majority of our time this evening is spent listening to you. We are eager to hear your ideas either in person or remotely about drawing Michigan's congressional House and Senate districts. In addition to hearing about district lines, we also want to hear your ideas about communities of interest. At this time, I would like my fellow colleagues to introduce himself and share where they live in Michigan, the Great Lakes state. And
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for welcoming us here to Novi. I'm MC Rothhorn, and I live in Lansing, Michigan.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm Anthony Eade, and I'm from Orchard Lake.
Hello, everybody. My name is Juanita Curry, and I reside in Detroit, Michigan.
I am Cynthia Orton, and I live in Battle Creek, and I appreciate you all being here tonight.
Thanks for all being here. My name is Dustin Witches, and I am from Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Good evening. I'm Richard H. Weiss. I live in Saginaw Township in Saginaw, Michigan.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Steve Lett, and I live in Interlaken, Michigan, up by Traverse City.
Good evening. My name is Douglas Clark, and I live in Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Zatella, and I live in Canton, Michigan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again. So happy to be in Novi. My name is Brittany Kellum, and I live in Detroit, Michigan.
in 2018, Michigan voters passed Proposal 2, a ballot initiative for voters not legislators to take responsibility for nonpartisan redistricting, and created the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, or the MICRC. And we're charged to draw fair and independent maps through meaningful public participation. For the first time in Michigan history, the MICRC will lead the redistricting process to draw fair and independent maps. Comprised of 13 randomly selected Michigan residents that includes 4 who are affiliated as Democrats, 5 as independents, and 4 who affiliate as Republicans through a lottery run by the Michigan Department of State. The MICRC has the exclusive authority in this new redistricting process for Michigan's congressional House and Senate seats. As fellow residents, the MICRC understands your expectations to draw maps in an open and transparent manner that meet constitutional mandates. Our mission and vision amplifies our resolve not just for today, but for future generations as well. In your interaction with the MICRC and its staff, you should witness the core values and integrity, respect, transparency, and being purposeful. Once again, we're glad that you're here, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Villette. Without objection, we'll move on to the next item for this evening, which is Commissioner Zatella telling us a little bit about public hearings. Hearing no objection, Vice Chair, you have the floor and you may present your presentation.
Thank you. As indicated, my name is Rebecca Zatella, and I am the Vice Chair of the Commission. To ensure fair and impartial maps, the MICRC is required to solicit public feedback before drawing any redistricting plan for the Michigan Congressional House and Senate districts through a minimum of 10 public hearings. We've actually decided to hold 16 public hearings as our initial hearings, and this hearing tonight in Novi represents number 9 out of 16. The purpose for the public meetings is number 1, to inform the public about the redistricting process, 2, to share the purpose and responsibilities of the commission, and 3, to solicit information from you about potential redistricting plans. So what is redistricting? Every 10 years following the U.S. Census, district lines must be redrawn across America to accurately reflect the population. The process of drawing these district lines is called redistricting. In 2020, the U.S. Census reported Michigan's population as slightly over 10 million people. The Michigan districts that will need to be redrawn are 13 Michigan congressional districts, 38 Michigan Senate districts, and 110 Michigan House districts. The responsibilities and purpose of the commission are to exercise our constitutional powers granted solely to the commission to redistrict Michigan, to operate in a fair and transparent manner that reinforces public confidence and integrity in the redistricting process, to conduct statewide public outreach and invite meaningful public participation in the redistricting process. Our goal is to adopt 3 maps, 1 for each district, while complying with the US and Michigan congressional mandates to ensure integrity, public availability, and accountability for data, public comments, and commission information, and to ensure compliance with the redistricting criteria. In terms of what the redistricting criteria are, there's actually 7 ranked criteria that we are required to follow in drawing our maps. Number 1 is that we maintain equal populations in compliance with the Voting Rights Act. Number 2 is that our districts are geographically contiguous, and by that we mean we can't have islands of areas separated out from other areas in the same district. We have to respect communities of interest, and I'll touch a little bit more on what that means in a second. Number 4 and 5 relate to political parties. We can't give a disproportionate advantage to any political party, and we can't favor or disfavor an incumbent elected official or any candidate for elected office. We also need to reflect consideration of city, county, and township boundaries. And lastly, we need to try to keep the districts reasonably compact. So what are communities of interest? Communities of interest may include, but aren't limited to, populations that share cultural or historical characteristics or economic interests. They do not include relationships with political parties, incumbents, or political candidates. So what does the MICRC want to know about your community of interest? We have all sorts of questions. What name would you give your community? What's the common bond that creates your community's shared identity? What is the geographic area covered by your community? What are the government policies that are important for your community? And how would keeping your community intact enhance the quality of your representation in Congress or the Michigan legislature? And lastly, are there nearby areas that strengthen or weaken your community of interest? We want to know that too. So why are we here? The MICRC is here because we want to hear directly from you about your ideas to redistrict Michigan's congressional House and Senate districts. We want to listen and to learn about your community of interest. Why should you care? Well, most importantly, this is a historic process. This is the first time that citizens, average citizens on the street, have the ability to come in and provide input about where they think district lines should be drawn that best represent their interests, not the interests of politicians. We want to model openness and transparency to ensure statewide participation. And lastly, we want to invite those communities of interest, which is a new concept for redistricting in Michigan, to share their voices on how they would be best represented by district lines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Zatella. Without objection, our General Counsel will now come to us and share about our public comment guidelines. Objection. General Counsel, please take the floor and talk to us about our public comment guidelines.
Thank you so much, Madam. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you to Novi for the warm welcome this evening. The public comment guidelines I'd like to cover this evening are: in-person public comments will take place first, followed by remote public comments. The time limit for each public comment speaker is 2 minutes. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. If any person disrupts the orderly progress of this meeting or refuses to comply with applicable MICRC guidelines and rules, the chairperson may rule that person out of order and/or order their removal from this meeting. Please provide public comment and/or submit your proposed maps in the public comment portal, which is available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. Thank you.
Thank you, General Counsel. Without objection, we'll now begin the public comment portion of our meeting. Hearing no objection, we'll now proceed with public comment. Individuals who have signed up and indicated that they provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. You'll step to the nearest microphone when I call your number. Of course, I've been telling people, please also introduce yourself. Unless you are fine with just being a number this evening, that is fine with us. You'll have 2 minutes to address the commission, as General Counsel stated. Please conclude your remarks when your 2 minutes has ended and hear the timer. The timer will happen when your 2 minutes is up. There'll also be a clock that you can see on either screen. And I will try my best not to interrupt you. We don't want to interrupt, but if you finish your sentence and start a whole new paragraph of things to share with us this evening, then you will hear my voice. Again, because of this, and just in general, if you're here just to listen and watch and learn, perfectly fine. If something bubbles up in your spirit and you feel like there's something that you want to share in the vein of public comment, go to our public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area of the map about which you are speaking. The public comment tool is at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. Again, the public comment tool can be found at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. Do we have two mics? Yes, we have two mics. So if it's convenient for you, I'm going to have the odd number step to the left to this mic right here, and the even numbers will step to the right. If you are an even number and you're way over here, I don't want to inconvenience you by having you to trek over to the mic. So if we can work it out where odds are over here speaking and evens over here, that's great. First in line for public comment, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 3 will step to my left, which is probably you all's right. And 2 and 4 will step to my right. 1, if you're ready, you can begin addressing the commission.
Hi, Bill Bond from Green Oak Township. This commission is not some good government exercise operating in laboratory conditions. Read the court's findings of fact in the trial in the League of Women Voters case that challenged the last redistricting. The Republican Party's operatives, elected representatives, consultants, and lawyers connived behind closed doors in secret, away from the other party and away from the scrutiny of the public, to gin up maps for the sole purpose of maximizing Republican control, even in the absence of majority support. Do you think these same folks gave up just because the voters passed Prop 2? Beware of a Trojan horse labeled communities of interest. It's a novel concept fraught with a great deal of subjectivity. As such, expect it will be used by the same forces through direct interventions, through the testimony of ringers they have selected and prepped, and by selectively cutting and pasting good faith testimony offered by ordinary citizens to fit a narrative quilt. In other words, they will have worked out their best maps and backward engineer a testimonial narrative, while their real intentions will be kept hidden to salvage as much of the corrupt system as they can. Don't be fooled. You must use expert analysis like the expert witness whose testimony was accepted as true in the League of Women Voters litigation. Indeed, the Princeton Woodrow Wilson School's advice to you is to, quote, adopt statistical measures that evaluate partisan fairness for statewide maps as a whole, not on a district by district basis, close quote. On January 6th, we saw a mob assault on the Republic. Insurrectionists, many holding elective office today, are preparing to try it again. Maps that permit the majority of the sovereign people to select their representatives may prove to be the one critical piece that will save America from the catastrophe of an irredeemable and corrupt one-party state in 2024. The stakes could not be higher.
Novi, let's try to keep a nice and orderly meeting. I'm glad that you all are a spirited group. We love spirit and expression. Number 2, if you're ready, you can address the commission.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Ann Henry, and I presently live in Brighton Township, which is in Livingston County. I was born and raised in Michigan. I've lived here all but a few months in my 64 years. I've lived in 4 counties, numerous cities. And each city and town I lived there because it had a distinct culture. And that's why I moved into that community, hoping, of course, that it would be a good fit. So younger, you want crowds, you want excitement, you want loudness. But as you get older, you move away from all that. And I moved into the family stage where I looked for things that dealt with family community activities, sports, churches, and of course, schools and room to grow. And now at this stage, we looked for something a little quieter, but with a vital area and a community involvement. And this community culture is why most of us live where we live. This culture is driven by the municipality and its master plan. These master plans can take years and even decades to develop, maintain, and perfect. And is always dependent, every single one is always dependent on municipal boundaries. The investment a person will make once they've decided on their chosen community and the culture they'd like to fit in will be most likely the biggest and largest investment they will ever make in their lifetime. So given that we base those investments on the area we choose to live, it would be devastating to have someone's decision change for them with a line on a map that perhaps puts their home, their family, their investments into a culture, a community they didn't choose. So while I know that municipal and county boundaries are on your list of priorities, I would rather be placed higher on that list. I would like to see municipal and county boundaries as the second most important criteria, right after the federal guidelines I know that you have to consider. Given that there's so much at stake and investments are really large, please consider keeping boundaries intact when you can. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 3.
Hello, I'm Ed Potasnik. I'm from Livonia, Michigan. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for what you're doing and what you're going to do. And when I first seen Proposal 2 and what it meant, and it was on the ballot, I jumped on that like a bass on the bullfrog. Because what happens, it appears to me that over the years, a certain party abused the power of redistricting. And we want to change that. And you guys got a big job ahead of you. I think you can do it. When there's something wrong, when you get hundreds of thousands of people that vote for one party and the other party's 5 or 6 up to 11 seats short, 5 in the House, 6 in the Senate, whatever which way it is, it's ridiculous. And it gives the minority at that point a chance to screw the minorities that are out there. So we want to make sure, I'm not talking about lines. You guys got to do the lines. You got to do it fairly. God bless you. Do a good job and help us. And we got to get rid of the stuff that's going on out there right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share with the commission this evening. 4.
Gino Nudi from Clarkston, Michigan. I'm a 7-year resident in Clarkston, a lifetime resident of Michigan. I want to thank you for what you're doing. This is a monumental task. And I've been a voter since 18 years old, never missed a vote. And I believed in this proposal and I voted for it. So again, I want to thank you for all you're going to do. But I guess the main thing is how you would be educated to cover all this. And I guess what I really want to see is how you're going to educate yourself to cover all these different districts. I know Clarkston is northern Oakland County, and we are a small town as opposed to southern Oakland, which is very busy. So there's vast different communities there. And the part that I want to make sure that comes across, and again, I don't know how you guys are going to cover yourselves, but to educate yourself on all the different minorities and different aspects of the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission this evening. 5.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Thomas Kersnick. I'm from Oakland County, Waterford Township of 7 years and lifetime Michigander. I thank the commission for what they're about to do. This is going to be a tough job for you, but I appreciate what you're doing. I was thinking about this, and I work in Warren. If I drive down I-75 back when they had that construction, or they still construction, you're going to have to know all the back roads to get to Warren. If anybody's drove down 75, especially when they were first doing it. And one thing I noticed that when I travel from Waterford down Telegraph and I hit West Bloomfield, there's no difference. It all looks the same to me. There might be a road that divides the two residents, but it's the same. So I ask that you take that into account, wipe the maps clean, redistrict properly, stop the gerrymandering, and make it fair for everybody to vote in the district that they're at. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the commission this evening. 6, please.
Good evening. I'm sorry. My name is Thomas Sutton. I live in Livingston County in Howell, Michigan. I've lived there for the last 18 years, and I'm a Michigander my whole life. The other part of my life, I lived in Wayne County. And I work in Pontiac. So I've had different backgrounds on all this, on different districts. And every district, the demographics are different. And it's like with Livingston County, it has different demographics than Southern Oakland County. And we're all in the same district. I mean, we have to get rid of the old maps. Demographics have changed. We need to have it fair. We have to get away from the adequated maps that we have now. You guys are going to have the knowledge. You guys are going to have all the information. You guys are going to be able to draw the lines. You guys will have all the data. You should be able to do a fair and equitable map. And that's all I'm asking for. So everybody has their fair say. Thank you.
Tom, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with the commission this evening. 7.
Good evening. My name is Mark Fostek. I live in Cohocton Township, Livingston County, Michigan. First, I would like to urge you to follow the municipal jurisdictional lines that create the fair districts that you're going to be creating. Keep the cities intact. Keep township boundary lines intact. Do not split townships into several different districts. It is imperative that these jurisdictional lines be fully recognized by the commission. Communities of interest have a higher priority than county, city, and township boundaries. Testimony as to communities of interest show that the vast majority of comments being made are that the commission should be respecting county, city, and township boundaries. By doing this, the people have elevated this provision to a higher priority in line with communities of interest. This brings me to my first community of interest. I reside in Cohocton Township, Livingston County. To the north is Shiawassee County, Burns Township. Cohocton Township has no connection with Shiawassee County. Rather, we consider ourselves part of the overall community of Livingston County. Keep our township in Livingston County for state senate and state representative districts. My second community of interest involves our local fire department. Cohocton Township is a part of the Howell Area Fire Authority. This authority is composed of townships of Cohocton, Howell, Osceola, Marion, and the city of Howell. To split this authority into different districts for congressional district, state representative, or state senator would be devastating to our representation. I believe that when you draw lines, the fire districts and police districts are critical and must be considered as a community of interest that is meaningful. Thank you.
Mark, thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 8, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Percy Johnson, and I'm from Troy, Michigan. My zip code is 48098, and I live right next to Mr. Clark. So I'm asking for our cities to be connected, close, so that when you draw the maps that we have, maps that are shaped that have connected cities, because we can, there's the concerns that I have in Troy and the concerns that we have in Rochester, a lot different from the concerns that are out here in Novi, where we are now, or even in Detroit or in some of our other cities. So I'm really asking for you to focus on keeping the lines as tight as possible. This proposal too I've been involved in getting signatures for quite a few different concerns that we have had in our state. And I'm gonna tell you, this proposal was one of the most easiest petitions that I ever had to get people in our state to sign. I mean, from both parties and from all nationalities, from all cities. Everybody was so willing and so excited. And I'm happy for you that you're in the position that you're in and you're able to sit down and you see the existing maps that we have. Please throw them away and make our maps so our maps are shaped fairly, so everybody gets fair representation. I sat in at another redistricting, and I was listening to some of the other challenges from Dearborn and Wyandotte, and all of them are concerned about their community. And not only that, when you draw these districts, these are elected officials that are supporting our communities. So we want to be able to have elected officials that are able to represent our communities, that are familiar with our communities, and having them all spread out over the state of Michigan, it makes it hard for them too. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, neighbor Percy of Commissioner Clark, for coming to share your thoughts and comments with the commission. We appreciate that. 9, please.
Hi, my name is Marcia Dix. I've been a resident of Livingston County for 30 years. Livingston County is basically a rural community that offers citizens a large variety of parks, walking trails, and many lakes. Livingston County's north border connects to parts of Genesee and Shiawassee counties. Both of those counties are relatively rural, have many parks and lakes such as Lobdell, Hoisington, and Bennett. So it would seem a natural choice for our district border to go north and encompass those areas. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 10.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dan Lorea. I live in Hamburg Township in Livingston County. My wife and I pay Hamburg taxes, have a Brighton mailing address, and send our children to Pinckney schools. We shop in Brighton and Howell, but seldom, if ever, venture north of M59 into the northern half of Livingston County. Based on that experience, I have some ideas about how new state house districts should be drawn, but let me get to that in a minute. First, I want to make a more general point and support some things that have been said already. You really do need to start from scratch. We know that the current maps are part of an obvious Republican gerrymander. We know that simply from the fact that the number of seats in the state house and the state senate bear very little resemblance to how the popular vote actually went. So your job, as I see it, and as I've heard many other people say tonight, is to draw maps that result in more contested districts. Safe seats are places where politicians don't have to respond to the voters. The whole reason Prop 2 passed is that that's not what the majority of people in this state want to see. So turning to Livingston County, I don't agree that it's a rural county. It has an urban suburban southeast and a rural northwest. The cities of Brighton and Howell belong together. They're part of the relatively dense urban center defined by the Grand River Corridor. 82% of all the retail and professional office space in the county is on or just off Grand River. The southeast part of the county is closely tied to Ann Arbor. The northwest part is, in many cases, closer to both Novi and Lansing as it is to Ann Arbor. There's almost no farmland in the southeast, but a great deal of it in the northwest. I don't think the suburban versus rural split could be much clearer. That would result in 2 districts, and only 1 township would be split, and that would be Brighton Township, and that would give you 2 districts of 91,000. Thank you.
Again, thank you for sharing your comments with the commission. 11.
Hello, my name is Paula Sater, and I am from Hamburg Township, and I've been a Livingston County resident for 44 years. My community of interest is my church. In 2013, the church my husband and I belong to was built a new 1,300 seating capacity church in Livingston County. A high concentration of its members had moved from Farmington Hills to Livingston County. The congregation was growing, so the decision was made to Livingston County. 3 of our 4 children and 10 of our 12 grandchildren also live in Livingston County. It is the only physical church building in the Lower Peninsula. The church community is the foundation of our lives. It provides us with the opportunity to worship together and celebrate significant milestones in our lives: weddings, baptisms, confirmations, funerals. Supporting one another and raising our children, sharing the joys of life, and lending support in times of need. Livingston County's low tax base provides affordable housing options for people of all stages of life, single families, and senior citizens. Parents can choose from numerous school options: private, public, charter, and homeschooling. Parental support in any of these options is critical to the educational success of the children. The rural environment provides an abundance of recreational activities outside of organized sports. Livingston County has many lakes to enjoy swimming and boating. Its terrain and groomed trails welcome bikers, and its woods provides hunting opportunities for the sports enthusiast. The winter season offers downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and ice fishing. Livingston County's healthy business environment is in part due to the low tax base. Businesses provide job opportunities for adults and also for youth. Many young men and women have gone on to start their own business based upon skills and experience learned on jobs in their adolescence. It is important to have elected representation from within the local Livingston County community to know it well and understand and relate to our community values and needs. Thank you for your hard work in this very important process.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the evening. 12.
Hello, my name is James Gallant. I'm with the Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and my community of interest is the entire United States of America and its Constitution. In my personal opinion, based on the facts, I believe that I have found the source of all of the confusion about the Constitution saying that you can make your own rules and this definition of autonomy. Mr. Brady, Chief Civil Counsel for the Department of Secretary of State of the state of Michigan, submitted self-contradicting statements upon the public record in September of 2020, and one of them may be slanderous in nature. He said, very matter-of-factly, that this commission must follow Robert's Rules of Order. And I'm assuming that he did that by analyzing the Constitution and commissions of this type in Michigan. He then stated very vaguely that you can just do whatever you want. And then Secretary Benson come on the record and she said, matter-of-factly, well, you have autonomy and you can just do whatever you want. Well, the secretary didn't qualify that to say, yeah, you can do everything you want, but within the parameters of the rules of procedure, the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in America, you can do anything you want, not outside of this. Because you have autonomy, there's 11 definitions of autonomy in the Webster's Dictionary. And you have autonomy, independent autonomy, like an independent school district that is in a series of school districts in the whole entire system. What you don't have is free autonomy. Free autonomy would be that, yeah, you can do anything you want, like the Sioux Nation in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. That's a sovereign nation within the boundaries of Michigan, okay? They can do whatever they want, and they sometimes don't have to follow Michigan law because they are a sovereign nation. You don't have that kind of autonomy, and you can't make your rules like that, and you can't just contravene the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in America, which by definition is Robert's Rules of Order over the last 100 years. So whether you like it or not, these are the rules and you've approved them. And I would appreciate if you would do the thing and get yourself a hearing about the bylaws and rules of procedure and a public hearing on that and get some real advice, some real lawyers about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallant. 13.
Commissioners, good evening. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Commissioner MC and Commissioner Rebecca and Mr. Woods III, thank you for taking the time to speak to us of the Asian American community last night. My community supports the commission and holds you in high esteem. We trust that the independent redistricting committee will carry forward the will of the people in fairness. My name is Linda Schleicher. My community of interest is the Asian American community. Novi and Farmington Hills has a high concentration of Asian Americans. This is why Farmington Hills should be looped in with the Novi district. I live like 4.1 miles away from here. My daughter lives 4.6. My sister, who lives in Farmington Hills, lives about 3.9, 4.0 miles from here as well, but she's not in our district. So I feel that it's important that we throw out that old map and add Farmington Hills to the Novi district. One example of why looping Farmington Hills and Novi is important to the Asian community is the ability to access language material in native tongues. Many of my community have limited English proficiency. Health and education, reading material is really crucial to, well, everyone. So this is just one example. The API community trusts that you will hear our needs and consider them when you redistrict. In conclusion, Farmington Hills should be looped in with the Novi district, and not doing so, I feel it would have a grave impact on the Asian American voice in our community. And I want to thank you all for your hard work, and thank you for listening to me this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Schleicher. We appreciate you for sharing your comments with the commission this evening. 14.
Good evening. My name is Denise O'Connell. I'm a resident of Heartland Township, Livingston County. I've been a resident of Livingston County for over 50 years. Livingston County is made up of many rural communities. Most residents live on small lots, half acre in the country. We prefer to live in the country and commute to work because of the lower taxes, less crime, and enjoy the small town feel of our communities. We enjoy hunting and fishing as well as firearm ownership. My community of interest is the Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority. Heartland is located at the intersection of US 23 and M59 with Deerfield Township located north and west of Heartland. The Fire Authority is responsible for fire protection, rescue, emergency response in both those townships, as well as providing by contract portions of Tyrone Township. It covers roughly 80 square miles. These fire authorities have worked very well for decades and needs to continue. I ask that our small communities in Livingston County continue with the elected representation that truly represents us. With this information, I ask that you consider that all community fire authorities within our state, think about them when you're drawing the district lines. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 15.
Good evening. My name is Chip Werner. I'm the Community Relations Director for Disability Network Oakland and Macomb, or DNOM. We are located in Troy, Michigan, and serve the population of Oakland and Macomb counties. DNOM is a center for independent living, committed to promoting inclusion for all by breaking down barriers and opening paths towards independence and personal choice. I've attended previous MICRC meetings and noted that citizens are highlighting access to resources, relatable representation, equity, and fairness when defining communities of interest, which are all reflective of our mission. I'm a proud advocate that allowed our population to receive early access to the COVID-19 vaccine, and I'm honored to advocate and honor on behalf of our population again. COVID-19 revealed the difference between the visible and non-visible disability. Most vaccine centers were accessible, ADA accessible for the physical disability, yet failed to consider the non-visible disability. I ask you to reflect on your experience when you received that vaccine. I'm sure we all felt anxious when we entered that appointment. Now consider those facing developmental or emotional barriers who rely on city services. Our reach at DNOM is vast. We serve all of Oakland and Macomb County. We are a population. Our consumers live in many communities. Their communities need to be kept intact with fair boundaries that consider accessible transportation and affordable housing, the two most common calls for requests that we receive. Our population relies on their communities or city services, and they need to be fairly represented rather than selfishly divided. We urge you to keep cities intact when drawing new lines, especially those that share services with bordering cities. And please consider both the visible and non-visible disability as you draw these lines. Lastly, Thank you. This is far more accessible than Dearborn. I was terrified for folks who were walking downstairs. I ushered people up and downstairs. Please continue these types of environments moving forward. Thank you.
Chip, we appreciate your comments and addressing the commission. 16.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alexander Gavilic. I just graduated the University of Michigan, so I'm here from Ann Arbor. I wanted to talk very briefly about a core tenet of our democracy, not only of ours, but of everyone. And that is a very simple proposition that if you are an elected representative who chooses not to do your job, not to deliver results to your constituents, then you should be voted out of office and replaced with someone who will. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often in our system. And a big part of that is because of gerrymandering. But another part that contributes to that is safe seats. What do I mean when I say safe seats? These are districts that are so overwhelmingly Republican or Democratic that they will never elect a member of the opposite party. In the 2020 elections, of our 14 members of Congress, 10 of them were elected in safe seats, which means 10 of those 14 essentially didn't have to win a single vote from more than 40% of their constituents. And in our state house, the difference is even more stark. We have 110 state house members, 89 of them come from safe seats. Now, it is constitutionally obligated that this commission take party advantage into consideration when drawing its maps. But what I recommend that this commission avoids is creating a map that has 50 safe Republican seats, 50 safe Democratic, and only 10 competitive. I encourage this commission to draw as many competitive seats as possible while maintaining those communities of interest, and by extension, creating more districts for better elected representatives. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing the maps you submit.
Thank you, Alexander, for taking the time, and congratulations on your recent graduation. 17.
Good evening. My name is Connie Robinson, and I live in Heartland Township for about 40 years. Heartland's a small community on the eastern side of Livingston County. I appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening, and I would like to thank you all for being on this commission. This is an immense job, and as you know, and also an immensely important job. My community of interest is the Catholic Church. Livingston County has 8 Catholic churches, 4 of which also provide K through 8 education. I belong to St. Patrick Catholic Church in Brighton, where I'm very active in the Respect Life ministry. Our ministry works closely with the Livingston County chapter of Right to Life and also with the Pregnancy Help Clinic, which is a nonprofit that helps women in crisis and also has assisted literally thousands of families in Livingston County throughout the years. Our church partners with and promotes these organizations through volunteering, through fundraising, and also through community outreach. One of the really important ways that we accomplish this community outreach is through the many summer fairs and festivals throughout Livingston County that occur every year. These events are really important to me because they give me an opportunity to represent my church, our ministry, and also, again, allow us to do community outreach for Livingston Right to Life and the Pregnancy Help Clinic. It's really important to me that Heartland Township and Livingston County remain intact. Lines that would split us would fragment our churches, their schools, and our partnerships. So I therefore very respectfully and strongly urge you not to divide Livingston County. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming to talk to us and share about your concerns about Livingston County. 8.
Good afternoon. My name is Eugene Greenstein. I live in Farmington Hills at 14 in Middlebelt, a stone's throw from West Bloomfield. Our school district also extends into West Bloomfield. Farmington and Farmington Hills are a community of interest as important to me as we share a common school district, libraries, and other services. Downtown Farmington is in effect the downtown of Farmington Hills. We should be a contiguous unit when it comes to state and national representation, as our issues are the same. And we also share civic organizations such as the Farmington Musicale, Farmington Community Arts Council, and the Farmington Historical Society, all of which my wife has been a very active member. Being close to West Bloomfield and Franklin Village and having relationships with people and businesses in those areas makes them, from my perspective, part of my community of interest. Today's situation when it comes to congressional representation is problematic, as we have little in common with the Grosse Pointes in Detroit, while we are split from those we have common interests, as is most obvious when it comes to Farmington/Farmington Hills. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you for all your work.
Eugene, thank you for taking the time to come and address the commission. 19.
Good evening. My name is Wes Nakagiri. I'm from Heartland Township in Livingston County, Michigan, and my community of interest is Livingston County. I want to give a handful of examples. In Livingston County, a lot of myself and a lot of my friends, very proud individualists. We enjoy the lowest county property tax rate in all of Michigan, and we also accept that we may not get the same level of services as other counties, but that's what attracted me to the county. If I'm hoping to keep Livingston County intact, if you look to the south of us, to the east of us, to the north of us, we have counties that have vastly higher taxes, more services, and that's great for their lifestyle. But I think the people that live in Livingston County are looking for that more of a, I'll say, individual, individualist point of view. I also want to mention from a public safety standpoint, keeping our county intact. We have a sheriff's department, several city police departments, many township police departments. I think it's important from a public safety standpoint to keep us intact, because there's a lot of coordination that goes on between the various police agencies to keep the county safe. I'd also like to say that, during some of the turmoil in the last summer with defunding of police, while some of our surrounding communities, might have had that point of view, within Livingston County, we are very strongly supportive of police, and we would like that community to stay that way. Lastly, I have worked quite a bit within the homeschool network in Livingston County. There is a robust homeschool network in Livingston County, and that's another reason why I'm hoping that you'll keep the county together. In my last seconds, I want to thank the commission. I look forward to districts that are well-shaped, not these gerrymandered districts, and thank you very much for your service.
Eugene, thank you for taking the time to address the commission. We appreciate that. 20.
My name is Larry Schmidt, and I live in Novi. And I was a precinct worker not a precinct worker, a district precinct worker for 10 years. And I know we had a safe and secure election. And I just don't want you, because we have some legislators that are lying and they're threatening and they want to dismantle you as a commission. Don't listen to them.
Larry, thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 21.
Hi, Dan Wallahan. I'm from Genoa Township in Livingston County. I spoke at the Lansing meeting about keeping our county together, as we are a group of rural communities that have no more than 25,000 people. And one thing you hear from all sides of the political spectrum here tonight is everyone wants the communities kept together if at all possible. And that's one thing I definitely do agree with. We all know what a gerrymander is. You look at the current map, when you see a district that's about 100 miles long, or a district that's shaped with a strange tail like a 14th district, and you have all different districts wrapped around there, because when you have one that's a crazy shape, you have four that are crazy shapes as well. Those type of districts need to go away. I brought 3 clean maps here for areas of my community in Livingston County. What I think would be good, fair maps. The congressional map that I brought is a fair map as well, that for Livingston County area, along with some surrounding areas, that went for President Trump, it went for President Obama, it may have gone for President Biden or Trump, I'm not sure, and it went for Governor Whitmer. So I brought some fair, clean maps that are shaped normally. And I think that we need overall clean maps that are fair, that look a little bit different than what we have today, and that keep everyone's community together as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for addressing the commission. If you'd like to give us the maps, Dan. 22.
I'm Ross Baranco of the city of North Novi, and my community of interest is Southeast Michigan, which is composed of Livingston County, Oakland County, Macomb County, Washtenaw County, Wayne County, and Monroe County. Currently, 7 counties are broken into 2 or more congressional districts: Kent, Montcalm, Saginaw, Washtenaw, Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties. Although I have some concerns for the prior 3, I have even more concerns for the latter 4, Washtenaw, Macomb, and especially Oakland and Wayne County. In Southeast Michigan, I believe counties should be kept whole. When they cannot be kept whole, I believe they should be divided by north-south lines along township lines as practically as possible. Any deviations should be along east-west township lines or city, town, village, or neighborhood lines, keeping said units intact as practically as possible. The current district lines in Oakland and Wayne counties are ridiculous and should be avoided by this current commission. The lines should be drawn geographically, not politically. Thank you for this opportunity to express my recommendations to this commission.
Thank you for taking the time to share with the commission this evening. 23. Sometimes we have numbers that high. 23. 24.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Orlando. I'm from Macomb Township, so I guess I'm representing the east side today. 2.5 million Michiganders voted in favor of Prop 2, and that isn't all Democrats. It certainly wasn't all Republicans. But there's, as Percy mentioned earlier, there is no debate that people want this change. There needs to be a hard reset. These district lines need to go. And I know that this commission's ready to do the hard work to make that happen. We really need to look at communities and the commonality, and I know we've touched on it, but when you have Grosse Pointe and New Baltimore and all these east side communities that are on Lake St. Clair, and there was Southfield and all these other districts that have nothing to do with like waterfront life. And it's just, we need to focus on the commonalities, and I know that you guys are going to do that. We also need to look at the will of the people. We had a lot of people vote in this last election, but it didn't transcribe to what the representation ended up in Lansing. So we need to do that, and in DC. So we need to look at that will of the people, and please keep that in mind. No political party should have an overwhelming advantage with the gerrymandering, and I know that you'll look at that. At the end of the day, all I can hope is that this committee will always look at the will of the people. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. 25.
Hello, Michigan citizens, Redistricting Commission, and all members of the community that are here to join or observe public commentary. My name is James Jewell, and I live in Sterling Heights, Macomb County. I'm here to ask the Redistricting Commission to draw new lines that make sense for the communities in Michigan and the citizens that live in them without any partisan or political agenda, and instead with a common sense mind frame and from a place of servitude. As a union member and an avid musician, I may live and work mostly in Sterling Heights, where I've recently bought my first home, but I spend a lot of time in surrounding areas right there as well. Just an example, I would consider Sterling Heights and Warren to be communities of interest together. I often visit one of my favorite barbecue places when in Warren, especially when I'm attending occasional work trainings down there. My metal band has also played numerous shows in Warren, so that's where we stop for food, gas, and everything along the way. With a lot of people like myself that may live in one of these cities but work in the other, and then these people doing their daily routine things such as shopping, social life, visiting done across close city lines, those are examples of two cities that very well may belong in the same district for good and justifiable reasons. There are hundreds of similar examples across our state. However, our current district map has a lot of problems. There are some district lines drawn so obscurely in such a contorted shape that some have referenced tonight already, that they have gained a level of notoriety for the obvious gerrymandering that took place when those lines were drawn. These districts share little to no cultural or economic similarities, nothing to do with each other, nothing that makes sense or makes them communities of interest together other than granting partisan advantage in our elections. All I'm asking you to do today is to make sure that no partisan pressure and no political agenda has any effect on our new district map. Our voters should be choosing our politicians and not the other way around. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell, for taking the time to address the commission. 26.
Good evening. I'm Donald Mitzel from Northville Township, Western Wayne County, and I'm old enough to remember being taught about gerrymandering and how it came about and why it was unfair. If we look at the districts that we have in Southeast Michigan today, I think we have to really admit that they are a total mess. As far as an area of community concern, well, you know, I grew up in Oakland County on the west side of Woodward, and I guess that would make me a West Sider. Today, I live in Northville Township, Western Wayne County, and I moved here a long time ago. I've watched this area continue to grow without the constraints of a Lake St. Clair or a Detroit River, but with a lot of open farmland that has gradually been converted to industrial and residential use. In Northville, which is part of that, we share a lot of common concerns with zoning, schools, water, sewage, roads, and now landfills as well. The same as our neighboring communities of the kind of the I-75 or I-275 corridor of Canton, Plymouth Township, and even here in Oakland County, the city of Novi. I encourage you to take into consideration the common concerns of these expanding Western Wayne communities that we share. You have a terrific opportunity, something enduring, a model for the future and possibly even for other states. I say make it fair, square, and as compact as possible without crossing city lines, township, or municipal lines. Thank you.
Donald, we appreciate you coming to address the commission. 27.
Greetings to everyone. I'm Audrey Anderson, and I live in Washtenaw County. I know there are several points, bullet points to look at. However, the one that stands out for me is the community that I live in. So, community of interest is what I value. I value a compassionate community. I value a community that have the resources that we need. I value a community that is diverse. In Washtenaw County, we are split. There's the 7th district and there's the 12th district. Personally, I'm speaking for the 12th district. I represent the 12th district. It is diverse. I know you look at the numbers in terms of population. The 7th district have 710,000. The 12th district has 704,000. So I'm asking that you use wisdom in redistricting. I do not have a map to submit today. I will be submitting one later because I need help with drawing the maps. This is a complex process, but even with the complexity of this process, I ask that you use wisdom in redistricting. Thank you for your work and your time.
Audrey, we appreciate you taking the time out to address the commission. And as she said that she's going to submit her map later, we direct and encourage you to interact with our public comment portal at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. That is a place where you can express your thoughts in writing. You can submit your maps. You can speak specifically about the communities in which you live, play, and work in. 28.
Good evening. I would like to thank all of you for allowing us the opportunity to share our thoughts and insights on the redistricting process. I was excited to learn that we could be involved and it wasn't going to be politics as usual. Thank you. My name is Eva Helmanen and I live in the city of Brighton in Livingston County. I have resided here for 30 years. When I think of communities of interest, I immediately think of Livingston County as a whole, and I would love to see it remain as an intact district. There's something unique about our district. It has kept up with the times while continuing to have a small town feel. The reason for this is community involvement and volunteerism that has encapsulated our district. A couple of personal examples that I'd like to share. When our local town of Brighton was building the Imagination Station, we all volunteered our time, donated money, donated bakery. I remember it feeling like a block party. And my neighborhood in the city of Brighton still feels like that. There was a time when my kids and I rescued a bunch of baby squirrels from a birdhouse they were squatting in. We started by bottle feeding them and then contacted the Howell Nature Center 15 minutes away to help us understand how to reintroduce them to their original habitat. We went there to release these squirrels and were educated along the way. In turn, the Howell Nature Center has our children's best interests in heart in teaching them about animals, wildlife preservation, and allowing them to have field trips and many interactive experiences there. The annual 4-H fair held in Fowlerville brings the whole community together again to enjoy the farm life, crafting, and small town activities. The glue that keeps districts together is common interests, and I feel even those who have moved to our community in recent times have done so in search of community-centered towns and villages. And I have discussed this with, I bet I have 6 new neighbors, and that is exactly what they said to me while they looked at moving to our community. These are just a few of the reasons I feel that our district would benefit from keeping the County of Livingston intact. Thank you again for all your time and efforts and consideration of all of our thoughts and ideals.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and address the commission. 29.
Hello, my name is Levi. I live in Brighton, Michigan, in Livingston County. I'm 15 years old. I decided to voice my opinion regarding my community of interest because the lines that are drawn will be in place throughout my high school years, college years, all the way until I'm 25. My community of interest is where I play sports with and against my friends. I play hockey and golf. Some of my best rivalries and friendships for me come from my home school of Brighton, but include Heartland and Howell, all in Livingston County. Please keep these communities together. There's nothing better than a good game against the kids that I hang out with. I know that schools usually try to keep their conferences within their county or close by. Please keep Livingston County together. It is important to me. I appreciate your time tonight.
Levi, we appreciate you more. Thank you so much for coming to address the commission. 30.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Aguero. I was born and raised here in Michigan, and I do plan on living here for a long time. I just have a few points about Oakland County. Oakland County deserves a fair redraw from its current maps. It's a diverse place, and currently the maps are not fully reflecting the diversity, and that the maps should be competitive, giving candidates a fair chance to win, and not having to fight seemingly predetermined with the outcomes. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your efforts.
Tyrone, thank you for coming to address the commission. 31.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Commissioners. My name is Nimratha Carlin. I live in Hillsdale County. I love my tri-county. As a business owner, I specialize in early development. I primarily cater to Hillsdale, Lenawee, and Jackson County, which includes Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, and Branch County. All these are aligned based on demographics to create service areas. Now we have Michigan International Speedway. That's a great tourism spot. The Jackson College works in partnership with Lenawee ISD and Hillsdale location. Energy sector, which is consumers energy and is headquartered in Jackson and Monroe, and altogether has multiple DTE operations. We hold pride in local businesses, steel industries, for example, Gerdaw Steel in Jackson and Monroe, and Aldro Steel headquartered in Jackson. We have Michigan State Police posts, Jackson and Hillsdale both, and that connects and complements Tri-County. Our education system that heavily contributes to Tri-County relies heavily on Michigan Department of Transportation as well. We have Life-Based Community Health as well, which caters to Jackson and Hillsdale. We have Michigan Department of Health, Human Services, which is all around 3 counties. These are very critical. We have Region of Irish Hills Narcotics Office, which is very, very critical, and not the least, farmland agriculture, which adds more life and possible reasons for people to come and do the traditional way of living as farmers. We have traditional crops. Some of them that cater is Jackson County, Hillsdale County, and Lenawee County, all in strong dairy, hog, livestock, and potato grower. This is what creates a strong community economic connection between the counties, and it's a perfect example for a common bond that will keep community intact. Thank you for your time, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Maraka, for coming to share your comments with the commission. 32.
Hello, my name is Tim Sawmiller. I'm from Commerce Township, Michigan. I was a member of the Legion of Volunteers who gathered signatures for Proposal 2, standing at farm markets and courthouses and even the Dream Cruise. Remember, this is a grassroots effort, not financed by corporations or politicians or any group like that. I was always happy to say when I was asked that, how much are you getting for a signature? And I would say, nothing, I'm a volunteer. Not even the marijuana proposal people could say that. Several times while standing and harking at people to come sign my petition, usually people will go by, they may hear you, but they'll ignore you, until I said that one word, gerrymandering. More often than not, heads would whip around, they'd come back to me, they'd either sign on the spot or they want to hear my spiel, and then they'd sign on the spot. I'm here to urge the commission to always remember that Proposal 2 was passed by the people overwhelmingly and got more votes than any political party or candidate. Definitely, truly a people's effort to make politics fair in Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder and sharing your comments with the commission this evening. 33.
Hello, my name is Anna Penela. I'm from Brighton, Michigan. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my opinion tonight about my community of interest. Like I said, I'm from Livingston County. That's my community of interest, particularly my school district of Brighton area schools. I would like to see our district stay together. I feel proud of our district. I would be heartbroken to see any part of that district not in one group. I have 4 children that attend the district, and it's where almost all of their activities take place. Their friendships reside, and that's where our heart belongs. I love my community. It hosts a wonderful part of my life, from the daily things such as school, grocery shopping, and errand running, to the weekly items such as attending the farmers market in Brighton on Saturdays, church in Howell on Sundays, or visiting family in Fowlerville whenever we get a chance. Please keep Livingston County together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anna, for taking the time to share your comments with the commission this evening. 34.
Good evening. My name is Gwen Markham. I live right here in Novi. I want to, first of all, thank all of you for your service on this commission. I think it's really important. I think we're going to be a model for the United States if we do this right. And I very much appreciate the seriousness with which you're taking your jobs. I served for 5 years on the city council here in Novi. I'm currently the county commissioner, but I want to speak about Novi specifically and ask you to keep it as a community intact. We currently have 4 different school districts in Novi, which already creates a barrier for us to have a unified community when it comes to communicating and activities and so on. We work very hard to try to pull our community together. If Novi were to be separated in the new districts in any way, it would just add more confusion, divide our community more. I think it would be a great burden on the clerks and those who run the elections to have that much more confusion. So I very strongly urge you to keep the city of Novi as a one unit in any maps that you draw. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 35.
Welcome to Novi. Good evening, commissioners. First, I would like to thank all of you for your service and dedication to this very important project. My name is Cecilia Gallagher, and I'm a resident of Novi within Oakland County. I am on the Older Adult Services Board for Novi. Novi provides many services for our seniors, including activities, Meals on Wheels, health issues, and transportation. I am proud to be on this board. I also belong to CERT. This stands for the Community Emergency Response Team. We are trained in disaster preparedness for the hazards that may impact our area. We are educated on basic disaster response skills such as fire safety, light search and rescue, team organization, and disaster medical operation. Novi has an awesome team. Novi is a great place to live. There are many beautiful parks, activities, our schools, police, and fire are exceptional. I would not want to see this beautiful city broken apart. I also reside within Oakland County, and in our congressional district, we are added in with Wayne County. I would like to see this changed. We do not use any services within Wayne County. Our services are with Oakland County only, which includes our sheriff and all other Oakland County services provided to us. Therefore, I would like to see Novi's district added to other Oakland County cities or townships. And I will send a map through. This is our map right now for our congressional district. So I will make sure I add that and upload it. Thank you for your time. It is much appreciated.
Thank you so much. 36.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. This is a very important initiative. You've got a tough job ahead of you, and it's absolutely critical that you are doing exactly what you're doing here, hearing perspectives from a lot of the constituents. The outcome needs to be fair and equitable. My name is Roger Lundberg. I'm a lifetime Michigander. I've been a resident of Northville Township for the past 16 years. And before that, I was a resident of Plymouth Township for almost 23 years. I'm currently the clerk of the Charter Township of Northville, whereas I'm here speaking as a resident of the Northville Township. Being the clerk gives me somewhat of a unique perspective. As you consider restricting the redistricting task before you, I'd ask that you give priority to the following items. Number one, you've heard this many times already this evening, do not split up governing jurisdictions, i.e. don't split up a city or a township into multiple districts unless size and the population dictates it. Keep similar like communities together in one district. For example, Novi, Northville City, Northville Township, Plymouth City and Township, Canton, all have a lot of commonality. Keep district maps as simple or compact as possible. Square, rectangular, or following natural boundaries such as major roads, rivers. And if possible, and this one's probably the toughest, is try to keep the public school districts together. Thank you for your time, and I know you've got an awful tough job ahead of you. Thanks again.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. We have been at it for quite a while, and I'm seeing some of in our seats. At this time, if there's no objection, I am suggesting that we take a 10-minute recess to allow folks to stretch and go to the restroom and do what they need to do in terms of self-care. That means we'll return promptly, promise, at 7:33 to continue our second half of public hearing. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll take a recess until 7:33. I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, back to order at 7:39. Purposes of public record, I'll have the Michigan Department of State Staff, Sarah Reinhardt, give a roll call for commissioners present.
Hello again, commissioners. Please stay present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call that you are attending the meeting remotely, and unless your absence is due to military duty, announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. Doug Clark.
Present.
Juanita Curry.
Present.
Anthony Eid.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Erin Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
All commissioners are present.
Thank you, Sarah. Again, individuals who have signed up and indicated that they would like to provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. You'll step to the nearest microphone when I call your number. As a reminder, you'll have 2 minutes to address the commission, and please conclude your remarks after your 2 minutes is ended, or when your 2 minutes is ended, not after, when you hear the timer. Please not after you hear the timer. Please go to the public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area of the map that you might be speaking of. Again, the website is www.michigan.gov/MICRC. We'll now hear from 37, if 37 is.
Thank you, commissioners, for listening to our comments. My name is Jill Adams. My community of interest is Lenawee County, which is on the Ohio border between Hillsdale and Monroe counties. Lenawee County has just under 100,000 residents, which includes small towns, rural areas, and farms. My desire is to keep Lenawee County whole, to maintain the cohesiveness within our nonprofit community. Our community, Lenawee County, best understands the basic needs and growth of our citizens and therefore should remain whole. Lenawee County has amazing community support for well over 100 nonprofit organizations. These organizations include, but are not limited to, food pantries, animal rescue services, pregnancy care centers, homeless shelters, child advocacy centers, veterans groups, rehabilitation services, the arts, domestic violence centers, youth organization, housing help, and people with disabilities. Every single one of these nonprofit organizations is essential to our community, which is Lenawee County. We all work together by volunteering and donating to keep these organizations running for citizens who need them to survive. It is imperative that Lenawee County remain intact to keep our nonprofit community thriving. We do not want to encounter conflicts of interest that would be competing for basic needs and services for the community if we were to be divided. In addition, I believe, and it sounds like everyone in this room has the same thought, that every non-densely populated county in Michigan should remain whole whenever possible. Most counties have a uniqueness that defines the essence of community. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 38. For purpose of the public record, 38 is not present. We will move to 39.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Jordan Scrimger, pronouns she, her, and I am a lifelong Michigander and Farmington Hills resident. It is incredibly important to me tonight to draw attention to what I have noticed as far as my own districts, particularly Congressional District 14. If you aren't familiar, it quite literally is in the shape of a really odd S, scooping up some of the east side of Detroit and the Grosse Pointes, running west along 8 Mile to Southfield, Farmington Hills, and north to Pontiac. It seems to me with the current maps that racial gerrymandering has been happening under the guise of political gerrymandering, in what I assume is an effort to dilute the voting power of predominantly Black communities in Metro Detroit. For these reasons, in my mind, it is imperative not only under the mandate of this new commission to be nonpartisan, but also the Voting Rights Act's guarantees of no racial discrimination, that the current maps are totally erased and not considered when drawing these new district boundaries. The second point I'd like to make is that despite being kept together in the 11th Senate District and the 37th House District, Farmington is split off from Farmington Hills in the current congressional district. This is incredibly silly. All my life, people from outside this immediate area have mistaken Farmington and Farmington Hills for the same community, despite being two distinct municipalities. We are a very diverse community that shares a school district, an incredible library system, and we support the same downtown area located in Farmington proper. I urge the commission to keep these two municipalities intact at all levels. Finally, as a young person who's working with other young people to submit public comments, I urge you to find ways to intentionally reach out to and involve young people in this process. A 15-year-old today will almost certainly vote from the redistricting plans under discussion tonight in the very near future. They are experts in their communities and can speak to their own interests and issues. It is incredibly important that we hear from them too. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I look forward to seeing your drafts.
Jordan, thank you so much for your thoughtful comments to the commission this evening. 40, please.
Hello, good evening. My name is Craig Drellis. I'm a resident of Livingston County, Tyrone Township. I had moved to Livingston County from Oakland County to take advantage of the unique qualities that I feel are within the rural community of my community of interest in Livingston County. And I desire representation that reflects the unique needs and qualities of the unique rural community of interest. And I urge the commission to retain the district lines in my county of Livingston County. Thank you very much for your time.
Correct. The time to address the commission. We appreciate you. 41.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy Miller. I live in Farmington Hills, and I'm here representing Michigan People's Campaign. Since I live in Farmington Hills, I will focus on the 14th district. And as you've heard from several speakers tonight, Farmington Hills is in District 14, along with Pontiac, Detroit, Grosse Pointes. And my concern is, why not restructure the district with similar needs and interests of other communities? Today, that district is shaped, to me, similar to a horseshoe, not a horseshoe, but a seahorse. There's a head, it comes down, and there's a tail. So, and also the law states that the 14th, the highest number district should be located in Southeast Michigan. Will you follow the law? I think District 7 is now in Southeast Michigan, not District 14. The federal laws stipulate that districts must have nearly equal population and must not discriminate on the basis of race or ethnicity. As I stated before, the district stretches from Detroit westward to Farmington Hills, north to Pontiac, and it's actually the center of Wayne and Oakland counties. Why not group communities with similar needs and interests? Are you planning to actually follow the law, which I've stated already? Will the redistricting be based on the law? The 14th district will become obsolete as of 2022 based on the census. Okay, wrapping up. Does the commission have any bylaws How will you prevent gerrymandering and create fair representation? Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Nancy, for taking the time to share your public comment. We will do our best to stick to the 8 criteria outlined earlier today by Vice Chair Commissioner Zatella. And we hope you look forward to checking out and looking over what we come up with. 42.
Hi there, my name is Noah Arbit and I'm from West Bloomfield Township, a municipality of almost 65,000 people and the 22nd largest in Michigan. West Bloomfield is ethnically diverse. It is the home to the largest population of Jewish Michiganders in the entire state and has a major Chaldean Iraqi Christian population, large Black community, Arab community, Indian community, and the largest Japanese American community in the state. Greater West Bloomfield includes the neighboring cities of Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, and Kego Harbor. The 4 towns share emergency services, the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, the Historical Society, Community Coalition, Cable Commission, and more. They also share policy interests overlapping the West Bloomfield School District, as well as the headwaters of the Huron, Clinton, and Rouge River watersheds. Greater West Bloomfield is a clearly defined community of interest, and the commission must keep it together in state legislative and congressional maps. The 2011 map sliced through Greater West Bloomfield to such a degree that even the most attuned voters struggle to remember which district they live in and who represents them. As you can see, our community is divided into 5 distinct areas with little overlap in state and federal representation. West Bloomfield also bears the unfortunate distinction as one of the only larger towns in the state to be so divided into 2 House districts, 2 Senate districts, and 2 congressional districts. The current map disempowers our community and stifles collective political action in Greater West Bloomfield. You have the power and the duty to change that. As you can see, the 2011 gerrymander was blatant. They tore up the competitive 39th House district, which a Democrat won by just 87 votes in 2010, and created 2 Republican-leaning districts by cracking West Bloomfield in half, replacing Democratic precincts where the incumbent happened to live and with Republican precincts. The current gerrymander was motivated by partisanship, but undoing it is not. The commission must not divide West Bloomfield Township and must keep all of West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, and Kego Harbor together for the State House, State Senate, and Congress. Drawing maps even remotely similar to the current ones, adding a few precincts here and there, would perpetuate this punitive partisan gerrymander, which is exactly what the commission was established to prevent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your service to our state.
We appreciate you and thank you so much for sharing your comment with the commission this evening. 43. 43. And we'll move on to 44.
Good evening. My name is Tom Heusler. I live in Lyon Township in southwest Oakland County. I've been living there for 15 years now. I gathered signatures for Prop 2 and I'm glad you're here. I like districts that are square or rectangular, not salamanders. I hope that you can respect city boundaries as much as possible. Lyon Township is a growing community that means infrastructure issues like water and sewer and roads especially. I agree with Speaker 26 that growth is a common interest with other growing communities. Thanks for your work and I wish you the best of luck with your challenging job. Thanks.
Tom, we appreciate you taking the time to provide public comment this evening. 45.
Good evening. My name is Bob Copes. I'm a 25-year resident of Novi. I have nothing new to add in spite of what I've written on paper because other people have already addressed this. Let me add some punctuation though to what several of the speakers, including County Commissioner Markham, have said regarding the jurisdictions of municipalities, towns, cities, et cetera. And Commissioner Markham's point that Novi is comprised of 4 school systems. If this redistricting commission were to slice up Novi or other communities, that would not help to remedy a very difficult situation amongst these 4 school districts. It would exacerbate it. So I implore you to listen to the input you received tonight and to the best of your ability, maintain the jurisdictional boundaries of your cities, villages, towns, and other communities. I thank you for your service to to the citizens of the state of Michigan. I'm sure this is happening with no small sacrifice on your part. I would also implore anyone still here this evening, with all the noise and the dust in the air over the recent presidential election, if you have never volunteered in your community to work in a polling place, go do it. Learn the process, and you will see exactly how robust and secure our election process is in the state of Michigan. Thank you all for your service.
Bob, thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission this evening. 46.
Good evening, and thank you, commissioners, for your work on behalf of this noble cause. My name is Robin O'Keefe, and I live in Birmingham, Michigan, where I work as a special education paraprofessional in the Birmingham Public School District. I'm a proud lifelong Michigander, a parent of 4 young adult children, and an engaged citizen and volunteer. In 2018, I was crowned Queen of Canvassing by a local grassroots organization in recognition of the hundreds of hours I had spent knocking doors in lead up to the 2018 midterms. The lion's share in support of a nonpartisan ballot initiative then known as Voters Not Politicians. I take great pride in this work because partisan gerrymandering is an existential threat to our democracy. When Michigan voters agreed and overwhelmingly passed Proposal 2, we did so in recognition of a broken system where grotesque partisan manipulation of our voting districts has the undesirable effect of diluting the power of some of our votes while strengthening that of others, and threatens our democracy by contributing to increasing political polarization and voter cynicism. For this reason, I'm appealing to you to, as they say, go back to the drawing boards. Throw out those old districts which have been drawn with partisan interests and create new, fair, just maps which will ensure that all citizens have a fair and equitable voice in our civic process. For me, this crown is a valuable reminder of my small part in the creation of this commission and our common commitment to the future health of our democracy. Through the creation of new, fair, and competitive voting districts which reflect the will of Michigan voters, we will ensure that the democracy future generations of Michiganders, like my current students, inherit is a fair, vibrant, and thriving one. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, for taking the time to address the commission. 47. If you're not here, we are going to move to 48, please.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jeanette Mansfield. I live in Oakland County, Milford Township right now. I moved here about 3 years ago. Before that, I lived in Livonia, Wayne County, for most of my life. And it is a culture shock to me, from my point of view. And so I understand the different needs of the different communities and would very much like to see whole cities remain intact. I completely understand that. I also would like to see you just wipe the board and start over because it is a cluster right now. Also, what I would like to see is whenever there is messaging, whether it's from you, anybody regarding gerrymandering, that we make a little inclusiveness tenor to it, as opposed to, you know, we're doing this because, you know, we have different ideas than you. And I know that's not what we're thinking, but in this political climate, I would hope that when we communicate about things like these redistricting, that we keep a message of unity in it, because I think that's the best way for us to grow as a society, and we really need it now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. 49.
Hello, my name is Abdul. I'm a college student at the University of Michigan. I'm from Canton, Michigan. That's where I currently live right now in the summer. I had a few comments to make about number one, state house districts, number two, the congressional districts for the federal Congress, and some other comments about districting. So first of all, throw out the old districts. They're Republican gerrymanders, and they're very outright in their intentions. Number two, do not use school districts as communities of interest. They are not communities of interest. They are communities of racism and wealth. For example, my school district is intentionally drawn to keep the poorer, not as white communities of Belleville and Van Buren out of Plymouth Canton schools. Also, I wanted to add that safe seats are not a bad thing inherently, and Michigan is going to have to see safe seats done regardless because of the way that the voters are distributed around the state. Also, now I have some comments about State House. For State House, I think that Canton should be kept united for its State House district. I think that Livonia should also be united for its State House district. This leaves Plymouth kind of lonely and with nowhere to go in the traditional mindset where you think it should go north. So I think that it should go west and take some of northern Washtenaw into its own State House district. For congressional districts, I have a few comments. I want Canton to be drawn into a district with Ann Arbor and other highly educated Western Wayne and Southwest Oakland County townships. That's going to include anything from Lodi Township to Van Buren Township, all the way up to White Lake Township, and then on the northwest corner, Heartland Township. This may seem strange, but these townships are necessary to reach the population of 706,000. And this district is going to have a strong community of interest with highly educated voters and similar interests around the board. And it's going to be a great district for everyone involved. Thank you.
Abdul, we appreciate you taking the time to share your comments with the commission. At this time, we'll have 50.
Hello, my name's Alice. I'm from Saline, Michigan, just outside of Ann Arbor, about 15-minute drive to it. And today I would ask the commission to keep Washtenaw County intact for congressional redistricting specifically. Other residents of the meandering 7th congressional district have already addressed this body, asking Eaton County be considered part of the greater Lansing area, or that Jackson be considered a community of interest with Battle Creek and its environs. I will simply state I have only ever been in Eaton County when I attended college in Lansing. And the last time I was in Coldwater in Branch County, which is also in the 7th congressional district, was over 15 years ago as I passed through on my way to Chicago. These are not communities I'm invested in. I am, however, close to downtown Ann Arbor, and I live, work, and shop there, and I socialize there, as well as in Ypsilanti. I will not hesitate to assert that most residents of Washtenaw County are connected to the Ann Arbor-Ypsilanti area in some way, if only economically. And yet this urban center has been carved out of Washtenaw County and tacked onto the greater Metro Detroit suburbs. I think this was done to better create, and I'm quoting here, a glorious way that makes it easier to cram all of the Dem garbage in Wayne, Washtenaw, Oakland, and Macomb counties into only 4 districts. Please fix this fractured congressional district and give me and many others like me an actual say in our closest communities.
Alice, thank you for taking the time to address the commission at 51. We'll move on to 52. Now, come on, you all. 52. 53. Oh, I'm not giving you all any more breaks. Are you 53?
I am 53.
You're
53.
okay. Good evening, 53.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up here and talk this evening. I would first like to thank the commission for all the work that you do. It is not an enviable task. And I know that there are many people who volunteered to serve in your position, but you were the ones chosen. And I would like to thank you for all the time and effort that you're putting into it. My name is Trent Varva. I am a resident of West Bloomfield Township. The first thing that I would like to say is a generality about the process here. We all know why we're here, because in 2018, the Michigan citizens decided they were tired of the gerrymandered maps that comprised our electoral districts over the last several decades. They had enough of the politicians controlling that process, and they put it into your hands to make the wise decisions that will affect how they're represented going forward. So please follow the 8 points that are outlined in the Constitution on how to draw those maps, and I think that you will do a fantastic job. I'd now like to talk about my community of interest, West Bloomfield. It fits very nicely into its own state house district, as do many of the communities surrounding it, Novi, Farmington, Waterford, other places. But then I'd like to talk a little more broadly about a potential community of interest for the state Senate. My wife is a nurse practitioner that serves at Women's Excellence, which is a obstetrics practice. So she services communities in West Bloomfield, Waterford, all the way up into Clarkston area, and as well as many of our friends and family live up in that area as well. So I spend a lot of time going up and down that corridor, and it would serve well as a state Senate district. Congressional, there's not a whole lot I have to say. I think that getting rid of some of the snakish districts that have been pointed out before would be excellent. And if we can focus on trying to keep those in tight-knit communities, that would be really great. Thank you again for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to your draft maps later this summer.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission this evening. 54.
Good evening, committee. I would like to thank you for your work for choosing to do this difficult job. We all know why we're here today, and it's to talk about gerrymandering. Sorry, I'm just really nervous right now. I would like to talk about how that, since I am fairly young, the age of 14, in about 4 years, I would be in an election. So me and my friends, we learned about gerrymandering a little bit, and we know that it's the process of a party dividing up districts so that it has an unfair advantage. Me and my friends understand that is unfair, and we think that you are going to do your best job for how you're going to organize these new districts. I would like to thank you for your work, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much for taking the time and having the courage to speak. That makes you an exceptional 14-year-old. I can't say that I was looking for redistricting missions or commissions to speak at your age, so you are already ahead of the curve. 55.
Good evening. I'm happy to see this commission is underway. This has been a long time coming. My name is Lynn Boza, and I am a resident of Farmington Hills. I have been a resident of Farmington Hills for 32 years. And the thing that I would like you to consider when you are drawing the district lines is that you keep Farmington and Farmington Hills together. Others have said that before this evening. Farmington and Farmington Hills share school system, they share a number of public works, and they are a community of interest. Thank you for your service.
Lynn, thank you for taking the time to speak with the commission. We appreciate you. 56. As a reminder, everyone, please go to www.michigan.gov/MICRC and check out our public comment portal. You don't just have to feel like this is the only time that you can share and connect and talk about your areas of interest. You can do that at the site that I just provided with you. Go ahead. 50.
Thank you. My name is Jason Nichols. I'm from Dearborn Heights. Unfortunately, I missed the Dearborn meeting, so I'm happy to be here today. And thank you all for your service. I wanted to just speak and share with those of the community and of the state who are watching There's actually a great tool that the commission has provided called districtr.org. It's a great place where you can go and draw your own maps. And on there, you can see, are you sticking to the rules of the Voting Rights Act? What is the partisan breakdown of the districts you've drawn? I would encourage those who are interested to go and utilize that tool. And then finally, I just want to say that I hope whatever the districts end up looking like, they create as many competitive districts as possible. I know that that is impossible to make every district competitive, but even just playing around with the tool, I've seen that it's quite possible to make 4 or 5 competitive U.S. House congressional districts, as well as a few others that are lean one way or the other, but could still become competitive one way or the other in the future. I hope that you will consider that, and I thank you again for your service.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your comments and thoughts with the commission, as well as sharing the link with all of us here today. 57.
Good evening. My name is William Lothman Jr. I'm here to talk to you about my community of interest, which is Waterford. By the time I'm done, you'll say, go Waterford. And I want to thank the commission for your time and dedication to this initiative, and thank you for hearing our testimony. My community of interest, as I stated, is Waterford Township. We have 36 lakes in our community, and it's a sportsman's paradise. Our lakes offer a vast array of activities from sailing schools to fishing contests. We are environmentally conscious as we wish to protect our natural resources. Waterford offers a vast amount of outdoor activities for both young and old. Waterford has an outdoor water park, which is great fun for all ages. Waterford has a fantastic farmer's market offering items from plants, vegetables, and much more. Waterford has a BMX bike course promoting a supervised, safe activity for the bike enthusiasts. Waterford has a 35-foot high zip line, which most cities or townships cannot say they've even thought of. Waterford has nature centers for those interested in discovering and learning more about plants, wild, and aquatic life. For the winter enthusiast, Waterford not only offers sledding opportunities, Waterford has a covered toboggan run where all you have to do is walk to the top to get a new toboggan. Waterford has dog parks where people of all ages can walk their dog or let them play in a safe environment. As you have heard, Waterford offers a vast amount of activities for the community to partake in. However, we want to keep Waterford Township one community of interest, not split up with any other large metropolitan area. Thank you for your time. Good evening.
Go Waterford. 58.
I was going to say that. I was going to say go Waterford.
Okay, we can say it together before your time starts.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Go Waterford. Okay.
All right, good evening. My name is Chris Gregg. I am a resident of Farmington Hills, and I had the honor of serving as the state representative for Farmington Hills for 6 years, ending last December. I wanted to just reiterate some of the points that have already been made, but from a different perspective, from that of a legislator. When we keep municipalities together, counties together where possible, it increases the effectiveness of our representation of your elected officials. So when I had the good fortune of representing Farmington and Farmington Hills, I had 2 mayors that I worked with. I had 1 senator that I worked with, but I had 2 congresswomen that I worked with. And so it split the attention on that. So if we can make sure when we're drawing these new boundaries, that when you have a state house, it rolls up to a state senate, it rolls up to a congressional district. It makes it much more efficient for representing your constituents. And we all want a very efficient government. Because when you're in the state legislature, some of your main responsibilities are the state budget. State budget is generally organized around county and municipalities. And so when you're working directly with those communities that you are trying to work on appropriation issues with. That is very important that, again, you have a clear focus of what your goals are for advocating for your constituency. We work on taxes, we work on economic development, we work on school funding. And again, the more you dilute the districts, the harder it is to give your constituents the best representation that you can. So I want to thank you for volunteering, for being on this. It was an honor for me to also be part of the process. I served as the Democratic House leader as well for the last 2 years, and this has been such a long time coming. We have to strengthen our democracy. Would have been fun to draw the own lines if we were in majority, but that is not right. This is what's right, is for the people to have their voice and have fair representation for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your passion and sharing your experience with the commission this evening. 59.
Good evening, I'm Robert Harris, been a resident of Plymouth Township for 22 years. Guys, thank you for serving. You've got a challenging job ahead of you. This is the easy part. You've got the tough part ahead of you yet. I would like to urge you to keep Plymouth and Northville townships together. Back in the 1800s, when in the state of Michigan townships were formed, Plymouth Township included Northville. And then later, many years later, Northville seceded. And they were part, back when it was Plymouth Township, it was called North Plymouth. And so they became Northville. So I'd urge you to keep them together. And in addition, I think it's important to keep townships together. And in the case of Northville, some of that, the southern parts in Wayne, northern parts Oakland, and a lot of people have spoken to keep counties together, but I think it's more important in this case to keep townships together. Thank you very much.
Robert, we appreciate you taking the share comments with the commission. 60.
Hi, I'm Estelle Oliansky, and I'm a resident of Plymouth Township in Wayne County. My communities of interest are Plymouth and Northville, just like Bob's. These contiguous communities have many things in common. They are a place where you want to raise your family and enjoy your retirement. Each has a city with excellent restaurants, shopping, and small businesses, and there are many places to worship. Both school districts are excellent, and in some areas, Northville students attend Plymouth Canton schools. Not everyone shares the same political ideologies, however, we all respect each other's rights to their own opinion. In these communities, if someone's lawn is overgrown, instead of calling an ordinance officer, you'd walk over and ask them if they needed help. Besides the great quality of life and education, these communities participate jointly in economic development, mutual aid, and share the 35th District Court. The MITC, which stands for Michigan International Technology Center, is a collaborative real estate development initiative between the Plymouth and Northville communities. Many leading automotive research and development firms have chosen to be located within the MITC, and the area is designated for an elite class of global technology, mobility, life science, and engineering innovators. There is a small part of the city of Northville that's in Oakland County, and I'm also asking that it stay part of the Plymouth-Northville district. For the reasons I've just mentioned, please keep Plymouth and Northville as one district. Thank you for your time.
Stella, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing your comments with the commission this evening. 61. If you are not here. 62.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Jacob. I'm a resident of Bloomfield Township. I guess my community of interest is really all the voters of Michigan. I think we're all entitled to have a fairly drawn districts so that the outcome of our elections reflect the will of the people. We shouldn't have a situation where one party wins more votes than the other party, yet they become the minority, which is the situation in our state house and state senate. I live in the 9th congressional district, which is, as you probably know, I'm sure you know, is a crazy shaped district. It extends all the way to Lake St. Clair. St. Clair Shores is in my district. And I feel I have more in common with my neighborhood, which is Birmingham and Bloomfield Hills. And they're in different districts. I'm in the Birmingham School District. And again, I feel I have more in common kind of with north-south situation, going north and south rather than east-west. So I think it's obvious that I'm in a district that was gerrymandered to pack one political party. And I think that I feel the district should be competitive, so we get politicians that it's not a foregone conclusion who's going to win the election. So thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. 63.
I think I may be the last one. Good evening. I appreciate the task that this redistricting commission is charged with, and thank each of you for serving on the committee. My name is Margaret Earle, and I am a resident of Livonia in Wayne County. After World War II, when our servicemen returned home, they got married and looked for houses. At the time, Livonia was a township with lots of farmland. In 1950, Livonia was incorporated as a city. Manufacturing, small businesses, and housing came to Livonia. Families were started, schools and churches were built, and the city motto, "Families First," reflected the lifestyle. Attending parent-teacher conferences, PTA meetings, coaching Little League sports, serving as troop leaders for Boys and Girl Scouts, attending church, sports, volunteering at St. Mary's Hospital, participating in various clubs and at civic events brought the people in the community together. Today, Livonia is the 10th largest municipality in Michigan and the 3rd largest city in Wayne County. Many of the residents live in the traditional neighborhoods, most of which were built in the 50s and 60s. And the young people that are moving into Livonia are choosing the same families first lifestyle. You see, Livonia is my community of interest, and I want to keep the city of Livonia intact. As you follow the Voting Rights Act and comply with other regulations, I hope you will be able to keep all of Livonia's residents in the same U.S. congressional district and the same Michigan House and Senate districts. As the residents continue to work at keeping Livonia in the top 10 happiest mid-sized cities and in the top 100 communities to raise a family, I hope you will be able to keep Livonia intact. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 64.
My name is Dwayne Nawarta. I live in Novi, Michigan. And I do want to also thank you for your work. I think communities of interest are the potential problem in the process because I think that it can contribute to some of the partisan politics we currently see. I believe redistricting should be entirely based only on population numbers. County boundaries could be used since they already exist. With any county that has a population that requires more than one district broken down by a grid of basically equal squares, the characteristics and certainly the politics of the population should be ignored. Communities of interest should only be considered to slightly amend a grid line if necessary. This, at least in theory, should help to lead to competitive districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. You were right. You were the last of the people speaking for the first time this evening. We will now move to our remote public comment. We have one person. Those that have signed up for a second time to speak in person will do so after our remote public comment period has ended. So hold tight. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide live remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. I will call your name and our staff will unmute you. If you are on a computer, you will be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute your microphone and speak. If you are on the phone, a voice will say that the host would like you to would like you to speak and prompt you to press *6. Again, I will call you by your name. Also, please note that if you experience audio or technical issues or we do not hear from you from 3 to 5 seconds, we will move on to the next person in line, though we only have one person today, and then return to you after you are done speaking. If your audio still does not work, you can email redistricting@michigan.gov, and we will help you troubleshoot so that you can participate during the next public comment period or at a later hearing or meeting. You will have 2 minutes to address the commission. Please conclude your remarks when your 2 minutes has ended and you hear the timer. Again, you all, those that are participating through our remote public comment, you are more than welcome to visit www.michigan.gov/MICRC to utilize our public comment tool for any area that you are speaking of, things that you have in writing, or other thoughts that you would like to share. At this time, we'll have our first person and only person to speak for our public comment, and that is Mr. Tom Kuhn or Kuhn. If I mispronounce your last name or first name, please do correct me and allow a few moments for staff to unmute you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
Good evening. And again, my name's Tom Kuhn. I would like to thank the commission for allowing those of us who cannot attend in person to provide our comments remotely. I'm a lifelong resident of Oakland County. I have lived in Troy for the last 20 years. Troy is on the eastern border of Oakland County, with the city of Sterling Heights to our east and Bloomfield Township to our west. Troy is just north of several smaller cities and just south of Rochester Hills. The city of Troy is a unique community of interest with a very diverse population, including a large percentage of Asian American individuals and families. Troy also has a large number of religious institutions, including churches, synagogues, and temples, which reflect the city's diverse ethnic heritage. This unique community of interest in Troy, along with the size of our city, around 84,000 people, emphasizes the need to keep it together as one unit for purposes of drawing state representative and state senate districts. The current district boundaries do not divide up the city. That should continue. Our state representative and state senate districts have helped assure that our community of interest in Troy is represented in the state legislature. Troy also has its own district court and has a large number of youth sports organizations. Troy is served by a newspaper, the Troy Times, which reinforces our community of interest. Again, Madam Chair and Commissioners, thank you for your time and interest.
Tom, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with the commission this evening. At this time, we'll now return to our in-person public comment. I will now call the first person to provide in-person public comment for the second time this evening. Number 1, the first person who has signed up, go ahead.
Yes, James Gallant, Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and my community of interest is the entire United States and the Constitution of the United States. And I would like to thank you, Madam Chair, for reminding the public that anybody here can get in right behind me right now and get 2 more minutes. But your attorney neglected to tell the public that when she gave her presentation at the beginning of the meeting and said the rules here. So I'm not sure why she didn't say that, but that's a problem. And, you know, I've identified, and you know, this is my opinion based on the facts. So I believe I've identified much of the confusion that's happened here amongst you members. It appears that, for one thing, the member of the public that said, this is a commission of the people. That's true. And this, Robert's Rules of Order, is the rules of the people in the United States of America. This represents the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in America. And I believe that what you're doing here is un-American. This is different than the way we do it in America. And that's why it's inappropriate. And so I believe this confusion is coming into play because you're appearing to replicate the California and Arizona redistricting commissions. I've contacted those. I'm analyzing their minutes. They just opened up in California. Well, you know what they did? 10 years ago, the guy said, oh, the Secretary of State is required by the Constitution to chair the first meeting to elect the chair. Well, just a few months ago, they opened up the meeting, and what did they do? The one member said he's going to be the chair pro tem, not the Secretary of State. They just, every next chair changes it, just like this chair right here is changing it every time. And this thing about hearing no objections, that's not a real way to make decisions. You have to vote in America. That's the way it works. And these rules have been gerrymandered. So I believe that you should just download these rules altogether that you have now that you approved, because they were approved in closed session by your attorney and some undisclosed people, whoever they were, in closed session, secret sessions. And all of a sudden they showed up with them, said, here, good to go. And you rubber stamped them. Completely inappropriate. And you've been starting the time before people give their name, and you've been stealing our time. And please, everybody, get in line behind me because you got 2 more minutes coming. Thank you.
Thank you for your insights and providing thoughtful time to the commission. As a correction, you all are more than welcome to always speak more than once, but you must sign up by the appropriate sign up time, and then you can have your second time to share with the commission. 2, I'm now calling number 2. The second person who is signed up for in-person public comment. Number 2, Ms. Anderson. Audrey Anderson. For purposes of the public record, it does not appear that doesn't appear we have a second person to provide in-person public comment. Are no objections. At this time, we will now have our acknowledgements. Hearing no objections, we would like to thank all of the volunteers who made this hearing happen. And actually, I'm gonna pass the mic or pass the floor over to General Counsel to continue our acknowledgements and thank yous.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you again to the community of Novi for hosting us this evening. I would like to acknowledge the League of Women Voters, as well as the Voters Not Politicians, for volunteering this evening and making the event a success. I would also like to encourage everyone to visit our website, as well as the public comment portal, which is found at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. And lastly, I would like to thank all of the participants who either provided public comment or who sat and participated in the meeting by listening. It's because of you it was such a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, General Counsel. I paused myself because I realized I was not, I mean, I could give the thank you, but there's someone else that is more equipped with everyone to make sure that we don't leave anyone out. As the items on the agenda are completed and the commission has no further business, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, okay. I got Commissioner Witches with the motion, a second by Commissioner Lett. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned at 8:33 p.m. Thank you so much for attending and thank you for staying with us. Thank you so much.